Have your attention, please? I'm not very good at this, so I'll be quick. Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of Christine, Evelyn and myself, I would like to start by welcoming you all and to thank you for coming to celebrate this very special happy occasion in the marriage of our wee lassie, Laura and Chris. It's really good to see so many friends and family here today, and a special thanks goes to those who have travelled long and difficult journeys. I've been Laura's dad for a long time. I've seen her sick, I've seen her wetting herself, and I've seen her crying herself to sleep, but I'm not really here to talk about her 18th birthday. As a wee girl, Laura always was outgoing, very outgoing, as she is just now, in an adult life. A very smart girl as well, academically. I don't know how she takes that after. I promise not to embarrass her at the speech. I'll keep that for the first dance. Struggling now. As I say, it's difficult being a father, especially to a daughter, because I used to be a young guy as well. Player, I think. I can honestly say Laura's made my job easy as a father. Never had any bother with her from day one. But you always worry what sort of decisions we'll make, especially the ones that you know have control over. Who's she going to meet? Who's she going to hang about with? Who she'll pick for a partner, or who she'll share her life with? Will he take care of her as much as I took care of her? Stop it. Will he be all right? Well, for what it's worth, Laura, your mother and I think you have picked an excellent choice in Christopher. And I would also like to thank Evelyn on a wonderful job she's done from bringing up a nice, well-mannered young man. Laura may have got her prince, but I'm still the king. Fuck, another page. Seemingly it's traditional to mention all the nice things about the groom, but Chris, I can't read your writing. Anyway, I'm just the warm-up act. We have better speakers than me, so I'll finish off with some words of wisdom. Whenever you're wrong, admit it. Whenever you're right, keep quiet. So, ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, could you please raise your glass to the bride and groom, Laura and Chris?
Hi everyone. Obviously I'd like to thank Frank for his kind words, and also thank Frank and Christine for helping to make today possible. I was just going to tell you one wee thing about Frank which kind of relates to Laura. So Frank, when he gets annoyed, has a wee phrase that he likes to shout, which is, "What's happening here?" And the best example I can kind of give of this is last year we were away on holiday, and Christine had booked a boat trip for us, and we were out for the day in a boat and done some water sports. And then on the way back in, Frank being Frank, was trying to help the guy dock the boat. But the guy wasn't paying any attention, so Frank's in at the front of the boat trying to hang on to the jetty and pull the boat in, and the guy's away back at the motor. So Frank just hangs on to the jetty, and for some reason the boat starts drifting back out. But instead of just letting go, Frank just hangs on to the jetty and shouts, "What's happening here?" as he falls into the water and he's left dangling there. And then I found out the last few months, so Laura started saying this to me any time I move in bed when she's trying to sleep. So she seems to have picked that up for her dad. I doubt Christine and Frank remember this, but they met me quite a few times when we were growing up through school and stuff. But the first time they probably remember meeting me was when we first started seeing each other, and I think it was Laura's Uncle Mark's 50th birthday. And it was in the Glenlisset, and probably unsurprising to most folk, I got drunk and fell asleep. So it was a very good first impression, but hopefully I've made a better impression on you since then. But either way, I promise to take good care of her. So, on behalf of my wife and I would like to thank you all, obviously, for being here to share today with us. Mostly just for being here, more than anything else. Obviously, you've all made a lot of effort to come here, and it means a huge amount to both of us. We've both been pretty nervous about the day, me probably more so than Laura, particularly about right now. So it means a lot to us that you're all here to share it with us, and hopefully you'll all have a good time, or having a good time. But delighted you all could make it all the way to Croatia. We kind of went back and forward between having a home wedding and an abroad wedding, and when we picked Croatia, I don't think everybody imagined to make it, so thank you very much. I need to give special mention to Lexi and Gary for coming all the way from Australia, so thank you very much. Heather and Matt, where I don't know where you are, but coming all the way from Canada. And also just to Laura's gran and grandpa, Jean and Jimmy, for making the effort to come to Croatia in general. My next massive thank you is to my wee ma. Thank you for all your love and support as I was growing up. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be standing here, and I apologise for being really grumpy this morning. For a long period of time growing up, it was just the two of us, and my mum helped me loads and took care of me and done everything for me. So hopefully I've done you proud, and I couldn't have asked for a better mum, so thank you. As a lot of you probably know about me, I'm quite indecisive. It took me 9 years to propose, for one thing. So I've ended up with 3 best men and 2 ushers, and they're kind of scattered around. And you'll all be aware of the kind of unwritten rule that groomsmen and ushers shouldn't be more handsome than the groom and stuff like that. So Doc Moyer, Simon Kenny have obviously done quite well at that. Gary ignored that rule, obviously. So thank you all for everything you've done for me. You've obviously all been great mates, and thank you for tonight, and except Moyer, because I don't know what he's going to say. And hopefully Doc will keep more clothes on than he did in the stag do. Apart from my wife, there's 4 other beautiful ladies here. Leanne, Laura, Amy and Lexi, and again, they're scattered around. Lexi's right in front of me, Laura's right in front of me, but hi. You all look amazing. Even Amy, honest. That came out wrong. That came out really badly, man. Sorry, Amy. Sorry. Where are you? There. Sorry. That wasn't meant like that. Sorry. I've lost my place now. I know. So, let's just go back to the speech. We'd like to thank you very much for being wonderful bridesmaids, particularly you, Amy. Without you, Laura wouldn't have enjoyed the day so much, and I know the build-up to the day was, you've all done brilliant for us, so please stand and join me in a toast to the bridesmaids. To the bridesmaids.
I'll just take your bridesmaids and Amy.
That came out horrendously. As you all know, Laura fractured a bone in her foot 2 weeks ago today, and it was put in a protective boot. She was understandably devastated, and I was a bit worried for a couple of days, to be honest, but I'd like to say a big thank you to Anne for, I think she boosted Laura's morale, and kind of, after that, Laura was fine for some reason. I don't actually understand. And even if she'd had to walk down the aisle in the boot, I think she'd have been okay, but thankfully she didn't. The only real downside to this is that now she's my wife, I can't really order her yet to go and get me a beer. To Laura, I just want to say a massive thank you for always being there for me, making me happy, marrying me, and just being my best friend. I think everyone will agree you look absolutely stunning today, and I know it's a cliche, but when you come down the aisle. And I know I didn't look round because Moyer told me I wasn't allowed to look round because it was bad luck. As soon as I seen you, I knew I was the luckiest guy alive. Laura, I love you. Me and Laura first met in primary 7, and it's kind of the end of primary 7, and I still remember her as the new girl coming into the class wearing trousers, and even then I was dead curious about her. And, one thing that I think describes how I feel about Laura happened just a few months ago. She probably doesn't know what I'm going to say here. I can't remember. I was out for a night out and I was pretty drunk, as generally happens when I go on a night out. I can't remember who I was out with, or I can't remember getting home either. But Laura showed me, I think you showed me the text message, either that or I've seen the text message on my phone the next morning, and it said, "You're the best thing I've ever seen." And that probably sums up exactly how I feel about her. So that's how I feel about Laura. Finally, I just want to say thank you to everybody for celebrating with us today, and could you all raise your glasses to my beautiful wife, Laura.
Let me thank you all for coming, and if we could we all raise a glass, please, for the speech for the father of the bride. Everybody raise a glass, please, if you don't mind. Down the hatch, everybody, quick. I think your speech will be better if you're all a little drunk. So, well done, Frank. That was a great speech, and those were some very, very kind words. Very kind. And I'm sure what you were really meaning was, I've not lost a daughter. I've gained a hopelessly impractical fella and he's a pretty rubbish golfer too. He's a true asset to the family. He's an instrument engineer to trade. Couldn't wire a plug though. And Chris, your speech, well, we've been waiting years and years and years and years for that, and could have been better. Well, I would also like to say, and I'm absolutely sure you'll all agree, if you could, Laura, you do look absolutely fantastic today. So if you don't mind, everybody with that. I'd also like to say, after seeing both of you in a wedding dress in the last couple of weeks, Laura, you definitely carry it off a lot better than Chris does. So if anybody else hasn't seen Chris in a wedding dress, feel free, come and buy the best men a drink. We'll tell you a couple of stories all about it and show you some pictures too. So, Laura, oof, you caused the groom no end of nerves on the build-up to the wedding. See when you broke your foot? Oh, there was a meltdown, there was chaos. You missed Saturday at golf. Now, for those of you that don't know me, my name's Chris. I'm one of the 3 best men that Chris has chose to help plan his stag do, get him ready on time, dance with the bridesmaids, and not insignificantly, produce this speech. So, Doc, if you don't mind standing up for us. Right, this is Doc. We've called him Doc for that many years, we don't even know his first name. Doc organised the stag do and he decorated the bar the other night, so if you give him a wee round of applause, that'd be much appreciated. And we're also looking for the other best man that's also called Chris. If you could stand up too, please. Stand up, stand up. Yep. Chris is the kind of sensible one. We call him Chris, but his real name's Simon. So we need to call him Simon because there's 3 Chris's, and storytelling gets very confusing in a speech this way. So his name's Simon. He's a sensible one. He's the one we kind of rely on to get Chris here on time. He gave Chris the rings and got him here on time. It's not like the time he left him in London on the same train station and walked out and left him. Chris got up the road. Colville got up the road the next day. So we all met Chris in the first year at high school. We were in the same class at school. That's me and Simon we were, and Laura as well, actually. And we got to know each other a wee bit through golf. Now, I don't know if you noticed, Chris actually had his golf clubs up at the altar the day. He said he didn't realise this was going to take all day, but well, here we are. We've got through it. Now, you're probably thinking 3 best men. How terribly modern of them. That's very modern. But the reality is, Chris needs that much help doing anything. He's absolutely hopeless at most stuff. And not long after we we got, or not long after, Chris popped the question. We were sitting there for a night out, just the four of us, and he said, listen guys, a wee bit of trepidation in his voice, he was kind of nervous, and he says, I want you all to be my best man. Now without a doubt, we all straight away, oh God, guys, we're delighted, man. Never been so proud. There would be nothing, it wouldn't be a bigger honour if we could just be your best men, that'd be great. Now the first toilet break he went to, we all stood there and they went, he's bottled it again. Should have been Doc. Absolutely should have been Doc. He's bottled it. Typical Caldwell. That's generally how these things go. Speech seems to have vanished off the phone. That's a bit of a concern. It's not that good anyway, don't worry. Right, where are we? So, when the three of us realised we had to pull together a speech, we thought we would get all of Chris's redeeming qualities in a row and we'd line them up and make a speech about that. We realised we wouldn't fill 10 minutes, so we thought, right, how can we take the piss out of him? 10 minutes, we'll fill that, no problem. So, I mentioned early on that he needed three best men. And the reason for that is because he is a bit of a mummy's boy. And to be fair, he does call himself a bit of a late bloomer, if you heard what we said in the first speech there. And we've always thought of Chris as a bit of a late bloomer. To put that in perspective, Chris learned to ride his bike just after finishing uni. Now, my notes are a little bit out, and I had that you met Laura in primary 6. Might be the delay in you writing the speech. So if we say primary 7, that's fine. So they met at Gavinburn Primary School. I've got 1994. You probably didn't notice till 95. Throws out a lot of maths I'm going to have to do soon. So Chris and Laura then went on to Clydebank High School, where they were both in class 1D3 of Clydebank High School. Same as me and Simon, actually. And yeah, I'll get to that, all right. No shouting out in the cheap seats. Right. Then, after 6 years at high school together, they both went on to Glasgow University. And I actually remember the first night they kissed. Do yous? It was a typical teen movie scene. Laura the bridesmaid? Aye. She'd had an empty at her house. So, boy likes girl, girl likes boy. Girl shows some interest in the boy, boy goes for some Dutch courage. And a bit more Dutch courage. A couple more drinks after that, the nerves clearly got the better of him because he spewed everywhere. Fair play to him, the boy still got the girl though. Fair play. Now I said earlier that Chris moves at his own pace, and to put this in perspective, well, my maths is out, but in 1994 when we thought you met, Mr. Blobby was still number 1 in the charts, and Jimmy Savile was introducing him. And by the time they had their first kiss, the millennium bug, it actually came, went, and gone. And here we are, 25 years later, standing at their wedding. So that's pretty good. Now, of the four of us, the late bloomer there, he was the last one to learn to drive. And the only reason he'd done this was because Evelyn decided enough was enough, and I'm not driving them to golf every Saturday. Now, at the age of 24, we think Evelyn had served her time. And it's a good thing too. To be fair, she managed to drive him to every single job interview that he's ever been to. And to be fair, that was great, because he's so successful, he's got a nice paid job, and here we are sitting in this lovely place now. So thanks very much, Evelyn, we do appreciate it. He's also said he's put bucket loads of cash behind the bar, so just help yourself, get what you like. Said it's all off the books anyway. Right, and to be honest, it was a miracle he got past his driving test. His vision's so bad that, in fact, after passing his driving test, he couldn't even see that he had his handbrake on. His car miraculously rolled across Dumbarton Road, in through heavy traffic, resting across the other curb. Unbelievably, not a scratch, not a mark. Chris, once again, lands on his feet. Well done, sir. And you've probably guessed it, the late bloomer, he still stayed at home a bit later than the rest of us. He was 25 years old. Property prices being what they are, I can understand it takes people a bit longer to move out. Not Chris, though. He's loaded. It's not because he's skint. I think the real reason is, and the earlier speech showed that he is a mummy's boy. I think we can all say that he's come a long way from the spotty teenager we first knew. And in fairness, a lot of that goes down to his strict beauty regime. Every day, as a teenager, Chris's poor mum had to blend up some pinhead oatmeal and some strawberries in a glass. And And he gave it to Chris. Now, unfortunately, Chris didn't eat this. No. This was applied by Evelyn as a face mask. This fact didn't come to light very recently until we were trying to do a bit of research into the speech, so thank you very much, Ellen. That's much appreciated. Very good. Now, Chris is all grown up now, and we're looking to the future. We can safely say, Laura, he's your problem now. Now, there's a couple of things we would advise and ask that you watch out for. Even as a wee boy, Chris used to love the baths. As a teenager, we used to go to his house, and every time we go down, yeah, he's in the bath. Oh, Chris is in the bath. What did he do in the bath for that long? He was always a bit clumsy, and he used to thrash about. We've no idea what he'd done for that length of time. However, one day, and he wasn't even that young, he managed to take down the ceiling in the living room because he thrashed about so much, all the water came over the edge of the bath 2 days before Christmas. Christmas was spent with a constant reminder of what he'd done in that bath that day. No sure what it was, but hard to tell. Not only that, he'll need help getting ready for any big dates. Once, in his early 20s, not long before finishing uni, he had to go to his mum's work and ask her for help to iron her lucky golf top. Now, I think we all know it wasn't a lucky golf top because Chris is crap at golf. So, however, Evelyn's advice was to run a cool iron over it, and that should take out most of the creases. Now, Chris took this advice to heart. He didn't turn the iron on. Electronic instrument engineer. That's what he is. So, Laura, as you know, he's fond of his foreign holidays. I'm sure you'll both be looking forward to a lovely honeymoon soon. My advice would be to unpack as soon as you arrive. On our first summer holidays, away as teenagers, when we thought we were very, very cool. We all went out, drinking, partying, having a great time, until Chris got back to his room and decided to spew his entire contents all over his suitcase that Evelyn had packed the night before. That's a shame. And we just hope you never fall out with him. He can be vindictive. He once locked his mum out of the house after, well, we were going to say after a couple of drinks, but that's not true. He once locked Evelyn out of the house and refused to let her back in. Evelyn so much had to smash a window to get back in. We don't believe you. So the ending. Chris, you'll be pleased to know that's us arrived at the end of our speech. No more humiliating stories like the time you kneed yourself in the face and had to get your tooth replaced. And at the end of the speech, I've been encouraged to say something romantic, something that will sum up the romantic crackle that's really in the air just now. And they are. The longest sentence anybody's ever been done is I do. Marriage is like a deck of cards. It starts with 2 hearts and a diamond, and it'll probably end with a club and a spade. And love is like a fart. If you have to force it, it's probably shit. So, if you can raise a glass to Mr. and Mrs. Caldwell and wish them a happy life together in the future.